Hey guys, it's Stacy. Welcome back to my channel. It has been a long time since I made a book related video. I don't know what is up with me lately, but I just have not been in the mood to film. Alright guys, the first one I want to talk about is Dragonfly and Amber by Diana Gabaldon. This is the second book in the Outlander series. I've actually read this book before a few years ago and I wanted to reread it for the TV show. My plan was to start it in January and have it finished in April before the show started, but that didn't happen. I did start it in January, but for some reason, I just trudged through this thing. It was so hard for me to get through the second time. I remember loving the book the first time I read it, but the second time, I don't know. I ended up remembering a whole lot more of it than I thought I was going to remember, and I think that's a big part of the problem. It wasn't exciting to me the second time because I did remember so much of it. So I ended up finishing this. What is this? This is July. I'm filming this in July. I want to say I finished this last month. So I was watching the TV show and reading the book, and I'd already read the book. So it was just kind of like, Even the TV show wasn't that exciting for me this season. The first season I enjoyed a whole lot more than I liked this season, the one where they're in Paris. I don't know, it's a lot more of the political intrigue stuff that's going on and not as much of the romance and the time travel aspect that I loved in the first book so much. So it was a really slow going read for me. The next one I picked up is Ross Poldark by Winston Graham, and this is another historical fiction book. I watched the Poldark series, I think it's a BBC series, on Amazon Prime a few months ago and absolutely fell in love with it. So I bought all the books to go along with the show because the show ended on such a cliffhanger and I could not wait for season 2 to come out. It doesn't come out until the fall sometime, so I thought I would read the books to see what happened. So I started with book 1, which I probably should not have started on. I probably should have jumped right into book 3 because the series covers books 1 and 2. And it covers them so well that if you've seen the show, you really don't need to read the book. They're so similar. There were just a few minor things that were different in the book than from the show. I will say the storyline between Jim and Jenny, I think that's their name, if they're a young married couple, their storyline was a little bit different in the book than it was in the show, but not necessarily enough difference between the book and show to read the books. And I'm also going to say I like the show more than the books because of the cinematography. The cinematography in the show absolutely blew me away. It's set in Cornwall and it's stunning. The views of everything there are just beautiful, and I don't think the books do it enough justice. Winston Graham does not go into a whole lot of detail of the scenery, and I missed that. It's a good book. I really do like the story a lot. So if you have not seen the show, you might want to start with the book first and then watch the show, but if you've already seen the show, I really wouldn't bother. The next book I read is actually from one of my best friends. Her name's Brie Fauché. She's another booktuber and an author. She has many books out there, and it's a book called The Key Valiant. I don't have the physical copy of it. I read it in e-form. She sent it to me so I could, try it out, see what I thought of it, and I loved it. I don't want to go into too many details about that book in this video because I do want to do a full review for it. It's the first book in a 3-book series, and I think she said the final book is coming out in January, and she's not going to release the first book to the public until all 3 books are out. So I don't want to say too much about it right now, but it was really good, and it ended on a huge cliffhanger, and I can't wait for the second book to come out or for her to get me the second book so I can go through that one too. But I will keep you guys posted when those books come out, and I will be doing a full review on The Key Valiant. Next one I picked up is A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This one was on my summer reads list, one of the ones I really wanted to get through in the summer. So I'm pretty sure this book is considered YA, and it's almost on the verge of being too young for me. I'm almost 40, and so sometimes YA can work for me and sometimes it doesn't. And this one was like, it was kind of a little too young for me, but I still really did enjoy the story because it has fairies in it. I don't know how much I want to say. I'm pretty sure everybody's either read this book or knows about it, but it's a fairy tale retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but about fairies. I'll leave it at that, but I absolutely love fairy stories. I've just discovered in the last year or two that I really do like fairy stories, so I thought it was really interesting how it was done. I wasn't in love with the romance aspect of this story. It just didn't work for me. I kind of felt forced or a little too convenient. It just didn't seem real to me. So, what would I rate this? I think I would give this book maybe 3.5 stars out of 5 because I did enjoy it. It was fast-paced. I flew through it. A book could keep my interest. That's really important to me, and it did keep my interest. There was actually a character in here that I liked a lot more than... There was 2 characters in here that I liked a lot more than the actual main characters. The main girl and the main guy. There was 2 other people that I preferred over them. So, I was really excited when I finished this book to see what was going to happen in the next book because I knew those other characters were going to be in the next book. So as soon as I finished this, I picked up A Court of Mist and Fury. Don't have a physical copy of that. I'm reading it on the Kindle. I'm halfway through that book now and I'm liking it a lot more than I liked this one. It doesn't seem as convenient. I feel like, I'm going to go back to this again. I feel like while I was reading this, things would happen, like certain things would happen, or the main character would get into certain situations, and you would think, oh man, she is screwed. But then all of a sudden, something would happen, and it just seemed like, like, that's convenient. I remember thinking that a lot through this book. Like, things just happened for, like, that probably shouldn't have happened just for convenience sake, and I didn't really like that. So I do think I like the second book a lot more, even though I'm only halfway through. We'll see what happens in that one, but maybe in July I'll talk a little bit more about that book when I finish it. And the last book that I want to talk about is Anna Karenina. I've been buddy reading that book with a friend of mine since, when did we start that book? February or March? There was a top 5 Wednesday, I want to say, going around. I think it was your top 5 most intimidating books. I believe that's what it was. And I saw several people's videos on that, and they were all mentioning Anna Karenina was one of their most intimidating books. And I thought, I love historical fiction, and I've never read that, so I want to read that too. And then my buddy wanted to reread it. He's already read it before, and he loved it, so he wanted to reread it. So we read it together. And we've been kind of writing back and forth our thoughts on it through the whole book. I should probably do a whole separate review video for that book because that book is like 900 pages long and there is a lot in it. A lot. And I cannot talk about this book in this video. So I probably will do a much more involved What's another word for in-depth when you can't say in-depth? In-depth? Is it because of my braces? Did I used to be able to say this word? So anyway, I think I'm going to do a video just for Anna Karenina with my thoughts on that book because I have a lot of thoughts on that book. Some serious thoughts on that book. Alright guys, those are the books that I've been reading over the last couple months. Sorry I have not been a very good booktuber and talking about these books or reviewing these books as I've been reading them. I just could not be bothered. And for the rest of the month, I'm planning on finishing up A Court of Mist and Fury. I want to pick up The Philosopher's Kiss. It has been on my TBR for months and I still have not picked up this book and I really, really want to read it. And then I'm also planning on starting, I think it's called The Sea Witch. And it's a series of books that are based on selkies. I think in Scotland, I'm not sure where it is, but it's based on selkies. And I love selkies and the ocean and all of that sort of thing. And with it being summer, I really want to dive into those books. So, yeah, let me know what you guys are reading. in July or through the summer, and if you've read any of these books and what you think about them, and hopefully I will be a much better booktuber over the rest of the summer, and I will see you guys soon. Bye. In depth. In depth. In depth? What the hell is that word? Damn these braces.